audience. Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. I'm so excited to have today's guest back by popular demand. He's one of my favorite plant-based doctors coming to us from Hawaii. He has a fun story about Dr. McDougall, how he acquired his practice, one of the best purchases he ever made. His name is Dr. Terry Shintani. Please welcome him back to the show. It's so nice to see you again. We don't see each other very much, but I find I just love your work because you really understand calorie density more than the average person, for sure.
Well, that was one of the first books I wrote. Was we should be looking at calorie density for weight loss, because when I did my Hawaiian diet program with the overweight Native Hawaiians, when I analyzed their diet, they couldn't possibly stay at the overweight, because the calorie density of their food was too low to sustain that. I mean, you can't, you just can't eat pounds and pounds of food, and and as long as the calorie density is low enough, people lose weight automatically.
No, and that yet some people claim that they follow the diet that I recommend, which is the diet you recommend, Dr. McDougall, True North, and they can't lose weight. And you wonder, there's got to be something that's calorie dense in their diet, that they're maybe they're eating out at restaurants and getting oil that they
or they're right.
Pounding down the nuts and seeds, thinking they're healthy,
right? Or they're eating crackers, thinking they're vegan and healthy, and then they realize, like, whoops, those 3 little crackers I ate, that's 150 calories, and something like that.
That's the thing, when you eat the dried food, like the carbohydrates that you recommend are what Dr. Lyle calls wet carbohydrates, things like potatoes, rice, beans. These are not dry, but crackers, breads, cereals. You take the calorie density of what could be a whole grain at 500 calories per pound, and now it's a cracker, cereal, or bread. It's like 1,800 calories per pound. It's triple the caloric density. So it may be healthy, but it's not necessarily weight loss promoting.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that is one of the things, and I actually published a study about that. When I published my study, people on my program lost 17 pounds in 3 weeks. And when you looked at the weight of the food, the mass of the food, it was actually, they ate actually more food than they were eating before, but then the calories went down. And people would say, wait, what? And I said, no, look, it's simple arithmetic. It's not even math. It's arithmetic. It's, Hawaiians would eat taro, for example. Well, it takes 6 pounds of taro for a day's worth of calories. Who's going to eat 6 pounds of anything? And apples are the same way. Apples are about 6.5 pounds for a day's worth of calories. You can't eat that many in a day. So what'll happen is your stomach will be full, and your weight will come off naturally. So, and I published a study showing that that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah. Is there a way that you could provide a link where we could see this study? Because I would love to.
Actually, I don't have it handy, but if you if you'll, I have a website, peacediet.org, and if you, it's a place where I give away my free ebooks. Actually, if you, if they're really interested, they can just email me, drshintani@yahoo.com, and I can provide a link to that study. Yeah,
because that would be really interesting, because I find that when people really understand calorie density and implement it, and I reference often the work of Dr. Barbara Rolls, it's impossible to maintain obesity. But
you can't get overweight. Yeah, it's like I have a. If you'll let me see if I can find it. I have a slide that shows that, if you don't mind.
I would love it.
Okay, I'm going to share screen. Okay.
Perfect.
And let me just see if I can pull.
That's our email.
Oh, can you see?
I can see a man with like pants that are so big he could almost fit into one leg.
Yeah. This is one of my patients. He started out at 500 pounds, and I put him on the traditional Hawaiian diet, and he lost 225 pounds. I got him down to 275. He's a big man too. He was 6'5". Let me get back. I have a slide to show exactly what I mean. I have all these slides. This is my big presentation. Here we go. So I put up this slide, and what I say is, well, these are about the same weight. They're about the same size and same weight. And then I say, this is 90 calories. And then I ask the audience to guess how many calories in the muffin. And no, first I say, could you eat 2 apples? And most people will say yes. And then I say, could you eat 2 muffins the same size? And yeah, sure. And then I said, how many calories do you think is in that muffin? And the answer, a lot of people say, oh, 300, 350. And the reality is it's 550 calories. And,
Wow.
and I show the label to show that I'm not making this up. You know, the point is that you could eat 2 muffins. Well, that would be 1,100 calories. But in order to match that number of calories, my gosh, you'd have to eat 12 apples.
12 apples, which I don't know if anyone could do that.
No one's going to do that, right? And besides,
I don't think I've even eaten more than 1 apple. Usually I get a very large.
You might eat 2 if you're really hungry, right? No, but the point is that you cannot get enough calories in you with natural food. And what I tell people is nature will not let you get fat. So there you go.
I love that. Nature will not let you get fat. So if somebody finds themselves in that situation.
Right. And by the way, this is not nature. This is all processed. It is
not found in nature.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, some of these so-called health foods, like nuts and seeds, for example, they're found in nature, but they're not found in nature out of the shell and with oil on them.
There you go.
Our ancestors really had to work hard just to get like 1 nut.
Yeah. Wait, now how do I stop sharing?
I can do that for you. I think I can stop your share. Stop share. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Because I was listening to a podcast with you, and you were talking about nuts, and you were saying if people want to include them, especially for weight loss, to be mindful and use them as condiments. And I couldn't believe you said that macadamia nuts were 95%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're 95% fat.
That's why they're like the best nut, because
you gotta be careful. Yeah.
Man.
Even cashews. My favorite nut is cashews. Well, 1 cashew is like 0.9 grams, which means a fat. And that's not all that's in the calories. So 9 times, well, then you have to multiply, it by 9, right? So, all of a sudden, you've got a lot of calories in 1 nut. And so you take a handful of nuts. Well, how many in your handful? Well, maybe 12 nuts. All of a sudden you got 12 grams of fat. And who eats just 1 handful of nuts?
Not very many people, I'll tell you.
Yeah. You'll just keep eating nuts like this, and pretty soon, let's say you have 4 handfuls of nuts, and all of a sudden, you've got 50 calories just all at once. 50 grams of fat, not 50 grams of fat, which is more like 480 calories.
You bought Dr. McDougall's practice for $1, so I know you.
I believe it or not, I found the canceled check.
Oh my God! You should frame that. We should show Dr. McDougall.
I actually found it.
I think that would take a walk down memory lane. So you guys, are on the same page, because his book, McDougall Program for Maximum Weight Loss, is rooted in calorie density. Right. Just your books are.
Yeah, exactly.
But especially today, people think that if they don't eat an ounce of nuts a day, they're going to drop dead.
No, that's not true.
But people believe that.
Yeah, but the thing about John McDougall and I saw eye to eye, and I think he I was the only doctor in the state of Hawaii that he trusted that I wouldn't see. In my practice, I never do medication first. I always try the diet first. I always try to change their diet and lifestyle first. And I think I'm probably the only doctor in the state who would reliably do that. That's why he turned his practice over to me.
And so I met somebody, I teach at a spa in Mexico called Rancho La Puerta, and I met a gentleman in my cooking class that was one of his patients in Hawaii. It was just so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going back way back. Yeah, that's back in the 1980s. Yeah.
That was really, really,
yeah,
really
35
cool
years ago. Yeah.
You know, one of the things you have that, and I can't speak for all the other doctors that do lifestyle medicine, but you have a preponderance of patients that aren't just overweight or obese, but that are, you know, you've mentioned you've taken care of people 500, 600, 700 pounds and more.
Yep. I remember my toughest case was there was a family of kids, and what happened was they were orphaned because the mother who was taking care of them was like over 300 pounds and died of heart failure. And so the three kids, the 13-year-old girl was over 300 pounds. The 14-year-old boy was over 400 pounds. And the 15-year-old boy was over 500 pounds. And I put them on my program, and I actually kept track of them for probably 20 years. Because this is back in the 1990s, and they had sustained most of the weight loss that the girl still, they were all overweight still, but not that massively obese like they were. The girl, I think she did pretty good, but she was still right around, you know, I'd say 190, still overweight, but way less than, you know, like 200 pounds less than she, not 200, 100 pounds less than she used to be. The 400-pound kid was still pretty heavy, but 20 years later, he was more like 280, still overweight, but not 400 pounds. And
Still
then the 500-pound fellow probably did the best. He was at 500, and I got him down to around 250. So you know, I didn't get them skinny, but I knocked 100 pounds off of all of them, each of them individually.
And probably added some years to their life.
That's a guarantee. There's no way they would have remained anything like being healthy at those kinds of weights. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
The traditional Hawaiian diet does not cause people to be overweight.
No, it's just that they, you know, infamously, Hawaii is the largest per capita consumer of Spam of all.
That is hilarious. Why did that happen? Because I mean, I haven't eaten meat in 46 years.
Well, you know, it's really interesting is because of World War II, you know, they invented Spam as a high calorie, lightweight food for the GIs, for the that was not that did not need to be refrigerated. So they invented Spam for the military. And then when the war ended, and then during the war, because shipping was limited and recent, they would ship all this canned Spam and to Hawaii for meat sources, and we got used to eating that. And it's interesting that in Samoa, I think they started eating canned corned beef, of all things, because they remember it from the war, from World War II. I'm talking about World War II.
That's hilarious, because, you know, I was raised kosher and I've been vegan most of my life, so I never tasted Spam. Have you tasted it? What does it taste like?
Yeah. You know, if they do it right, it's actually, unfortunately, delicious. It's 83%. It's 83% fat. It's got lots of salt in it. Everything that's, you know, you add it up, it'll kill you one day. but unfortunately, it's well, I'm saying delicious for the average public. I can't stand it. All right.
Yeah.
But that's because you know, this is another thing. A lot of people don't realize that their tastes are going to change, because one thing I remember is I used to love Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh.
I used to love, I mean, I thought, oh yeah, it is finger licking good. And then after I was vegan for probably 20 years or so, um, I was already a medical doctor. And somehow I got this, I hadn't eaten lunch that day, and I hadn't eaten anything all day. And I got this craving. I said, oh, I think I really like, I think I'm going to try eating a Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I pulled into one, got a little 2-piece snack box. I took one bite and I immediately spit it out. I could not, I couldn't believe it, that my taste buds couldn't handle it anymore. It was like disgusting. It was like, boy, I didn't realize my taste had changed so much. But I think people need to realize that, you know, they think, oh, I don't want to be vegan. It's, you know, rabbit food and all that. It's far from rabbit food if you know what you're doing. You know, there's so much more variety when you're eating a vegan type of a meal. You know, when we have Thanksgiving at our house, if we go to my cousin's house, you know, there are about 7 or 8 things, right? You have ham, turkey, potato, mashed potatoes, stuffing, you know, this typical stuff, right? Rolls. But it's like 7 or 8 things, you know, corn, right? At our house, because they know that I'm vegan, people bring different vegan dishes. There's 30 things. And it's so interesting. You have bean dishes, and you have stews, and you have pastas, and you have wraps, and you have summer rolls, and you have, you know, stuffed squash. And we have so much fun at our vegan parties at my house. And people would say, you know, if I knew I could eat like this, I would have started a long time ago. You know, because people think vegan is, like I said, rabbit food, right? So it's not that at all. It's very, very tasty.
One of the things you have in Hawaii that we don't have here on the mainland are those purple potatoes.
The what?
The purple sweet potatoes.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. Maybe they're called Okinawan sweet potatoes, but those are absolutely delicious.
Oh, they're so great. You know, somebody said, oh, do I put a glaze on it? I said, are you kidding me? They're sweet as it is. You got to try it plain. You know what else is really good is kabocha pumpkins.
Oh, kabocha squash is the best.
You know, it looks a little bit daunting because they're kind of squat, you know, and they're green, and it's pretty hard, and you don't know what to do with it. But if you just steam it or roast it, or they come out so tender and sweet. And the way I like to do it is I brushed a little bit of miso on it for a little bit of salty flavor on it. Oh, it's so delicious. And when I would have that at my 10-day health programs, people would go, wow, what is that? You know, and I said, you know, it's kabocha squash. And people should know that they can eat the skin, you know, just.
Oh yeah, the skin is delicious.
Yeah, I mean, but people are thinking, oh, do I scoop it out like that? No, just eat the whole thing. It's great. But that's another, you know, a vegan secret that people should know, that there's lots of delicious stuff that you can eat.
Absolutely. And we can't, I don't think we can get poi on the mainland. At least I haven't.
No, it's hard. Yeah, because poi will spoil. And it's expensive to make, but poi is mashed up taro. And but you know, interestingly, poi is, you know, it's like a pudding.
I know it tastes like, I thought I was eating chocolate pudding, to be honest.
Yeah. So it was like a pudding, but it's got that. The reason it has that texture is it's got this soluble fiber in it. That's fantastic for lowering cholesterol and, you know, slowing down. You know, it's a high carb food, but it's low glycemic. And the reason it's low glycemic is because it's got fiber in it, good fiber. And people are stunned when I said, well, I fed my people a 75% carbohydrate diet, and I got them off insulin in 5 days. And they go, what are you talking about? And I said, I get them I give diabetics a high carb diet, and I drop their blood sugar. And they go, that it doesn't compute with a lot of people because it sounds paradoxical. But the reality is, if you eat the right carbs, they actually slow down the absorption of sugar, and you have a healthy blood sugar level. And I wonder if I have. Yeah.
If carbs were so bad, then how come historically people who ate only
Exactly.
carbs, mostly carbs,
Right.
this I get so tired of people like just, wondering how people can eat potatoes, rice, and beans and be slim.
Yeah.
I mean,
Actually, can I share my screen one more time?
I would love for you to.
I think I have a really good instance of this.
That's my email again. You got a lot of tabs open, Dr. Shintani.
I know. Well, no, you got to realize I was on a webinar before this.
I'm just pulling your leg.
Let's see.
You should do your whole presentation. We'd love to see all your stuff.
Well, maybe another time. Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. Oh, what did I do with it? Yeah, maybe it's not here. Well, I'll show this lady. The other one, I thought, no, you know what? This is my weight loss slideshow. Let's
Yeah,
look.
we'd love for you to give it sometime. It looks amazing.
Yeah. This is a lady that this is good because she has a picture of what she looked like before.
About 10 years ago, I probably weighed around 145.
Wait, can you hear that?
Uh-huh.
The audio is coming through.
I can hear it. She said a few.
145 for a number of years. All of a sudden, in the last 10 years, I was up to 207, and I couldn't believe it. And I generally didn't like to have pictures taken of me because I found that I was looking very large. We started to do the program with Dr. Shintani. What was so helpful is that he showed us how to cook, took us to the store and showed us what foods to buy. After 6 months, I've lost 35 pounds. A lot of people are just shocked when they see me. That was great. When we started to do this diet, I began to feel really good about my life because I had myself under control. This is not a really hard diet. I think it's really possible for people to do it.
So there you go. And this is how I choose foods that help people lose weight is I calculate how many pounds of it provides 2,500 calories. And if it takes more than 4 pounds, the studies show that people won't eat more than 4 pounds of food per day. There's a couple of research projects about that.
I thought that varied individually because some people.
No, it varies. Yeah, the range is 2.6 to 4.1 pounds. Actually, there's a range. Yeah.
I know some people that eat a very low calorie dense diet that actually eat more than that.
Yeah, well, that's possible because this is a study done in Florida. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but it was with more of a free living population. But
well, also, when you think, I keep thinking about the slide you showed of the muffin and the apple. Even though that muffin had like 6 times as many calories, I'm sure it didn't weigh as much as the apple.
Yeah, it probably was maybe slightly less, right? Because there's more water in the apple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll stop sharing now. But anyway, but I've gotten people off of insulin in as little as 5 days, and people are shocked about that. Actually, they should look at my, did you see me on TikTok?
No, I don't have TikTok. You're on TikTok. That's so cool.
Yeah, I actually have a little video on TikTok of my patient who I stopped her insulin after 5 days. And, I continue to hear disbelieving comments when they say, nah, you can't do that. And I said, but I do it all the time. I get people, their blood sugar under control, sometimes so quick that their medication can become dangerous. So I have to watch their medicines. I have to start taking them off of their diabetes medicine because the diet works so quickly and so effectively.
Well, you called today's talk "Reverse Your Diseases in 10 Days," but now you're telling me you can do it in 5.
Well, that's some people, yeah. But in 10 days, I've conducted over 50 programs within the span of 10 days. I have so much data. And the interesting thing is my last several, I think my last 12 or so, I'm trying to think out loud. I think my last 12 programs were all online. So people from the mainland could join if they wanted to. Yeah.
Wow, that's really, I didn't know you did that. That's
yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, I'm starting to do that because people are asking me from all over the place, actually. I've even, somebody in South Africa asked me to, if I could help them with diabetes. And I said, well, this time zone's pretty tough,
Yeah, because you're about 3 hours earlier.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Have you always lived in Hawaii?
Yeah, I'm just a regular local Hawaii kid who, yeah, I like being in Hawaii because everything is familiar. My relatives are here, my old friends are here. I spent 2 years in Illinois at college, and I spent a year at Boston getting my nutrition degree. So
well, you're one of the few MDs who actually have a degree in nutrition from Harvard.
I'm one of the few MDs that have any nutrition at all from any school. I mean, just think about it. Think about any doctor that do they have a background in nutrition?
Nope.
In Hawaii, I cannot think of a single one. And I know, and I've been here a long time. I've practiced medicine over 35 years, and still there's, and the reality is they don't do it because it doesn't make them money. In terms of finances, nutrition counseling takes a long time and it doesn't pay very well. So I understand that, but the reality is most of the diseases we're faced with in modern times are nutrition-related diseases. So I'm thinking, how do you justify treating nutrition-related diseases without knowing nutrition? It doesn't sound right to me. And so that's one of the reasons why I actually got my nutrition degree after medical school, because I was so disgusted with the lack of proper training in medical school.
Well, so when did you become vegan, and when did you start teaching lifestyle medicine?
Oh boy, you're getting into a very interesting territory. It was 1976, and what happened was I was a struggling law student, and my grades were not very good. I had all the potential. I had great scores entering law school, but my grades are suffering, and I was tired all the time. And my friend said, well, what are you eating? And I ate typically what any red-blooded American kid would eat, American guy would eat, pizza and hamburgers and fries and cookies and, bacon and eggs. That's what most Americans eat. And I just wasn't doing well. I was overweight at the time. And so he said, why don't you change your diet? You might feel better. And I said, what does diet have to do with it? And I didn't know. And so he said, let me show you. So he took me to a friend. His friend was in macrobiotics. So I ate a macrobiotic meal, and I said, I can do that. It was brown rice. It was stir fry. It had a little bit of nuts on it. It was a cashew stir fry, a little bit of miso soup and some beans on the side. And it was delicious. And I said, oh, I could do that, but I don't know how to cook. He says, well, rice is easy. You just get a rice cooker and you double the water and you cook brown rice. I said, well, what about stir fry? Well, you just, cook the onions till they're translucent and throw in the big vegetables first, broccoli and cauliflower, and then throw in the lighter vegetables later, sprouts and cabbage and stuff like that. And then, get a can of beans and flavor it with chili powder or, whatever flavor you want, and miso soup. And I said, and miso soup, by the way, this is a vegan secret that you would know, but most people don't, is miso soup is instant soup. You just heat the water and you just break up the miso and there it is. It's already done for you. And so I did that and I felt so good. My energy came back. All of a sudden, my brain woke up. And all of a sudden, from being kind of in the bottomish part of my law class, I made it to the top and I made law review. And then strange things started happening, because when I went vegan, I started having spiritual experiences a lot of the, a lot of the holy people are vegan and it turns out it's for a reason. And my macrobiotic teacher said, it's because you're starting to resonate with the vibration of the universe, because you have the life force in the plants that go directly into your body. And I started having visions of being a doctor. It was a very strange thing.
Wait, how long were you an attorney for?
Well, I finished law school partly because partly to keep my dad happy. He didn't want me to be a quitter. I actually never really practiced. If you see my transcript, it would, it's a very strange, it's a very, I could talk for hours about this, but I started having visions of being a doctor when I became vegan. And it's because I started having, what's the word for it? I'll just use the word intuition. My intuition improved. And I started having dreams or visions of being a doctor. And I started taking pre-med courses in the middle of law school. And I just wanted to see if I had what it took. And I started acing all of my pre-med classes. And that told me, I think the universe is talking to me, saying that I should be doing that instead of this. So honestly, I never practiced law in that sense. I actually helped my father with his business. I handled the legal affairs of his company. But I just went straight into med school after that. My classmates, I made law reviews, so they thought I was going to go work for some high-powered judge or some high-powered attorney firm. And they said, so Jerry, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? I said, I'm going to med school. They went, what? They were a little bit aghast that I was going to do that. But
so you never actually got to practice as a lawyer?
No, when I took the LSAT, I was also studying for the MCAT. It's crazy. Yeah.
Did you learn anything in law school that helps you in your medical practice?
Actually, I just misspoke. When I was taking the bar exam, I was studying for the MCAT. I said LSAT. Anyway, did I learn anything in law that helped me in my medical practice? The only thing I really did that was of real value, I mean, having a law degree, it helps you to understand contracts better. It helped me understand the business of medicine better. But the one thing I really did was I wrote the law that legalized traditional Hawaiian healing, because the traditional Hawaiian healing arts are beautiful, and they're illegal because it's practice of medicine without a license. So I wrote a law that created an exemption for traditional Hawaiian healing. And
Nice.
yeah, oh, it was really good.
So law school paid off.
In that sense, it paid off very well because it helped the traditional Hawaiian healers thrive again. You know, so that was a really good thing because, you know, there's a danger of losing the traditional arts in many cultures. You know, not just in Hawaii, but you know, the Native American healing traditions and you know, I mean, in China, I guess they thrive pretty well. And there's lots of peer-reviewed papers on Chinese medicine. Even Ayurvedic medicine has some, but Native Hawaiian medicine, you know, you don't have the critical mass to produce the research for it. But at least there's a law that allows them to practice it. So that's what I did with my law degree.
Was your father ultimately okay with your decision to become a doctor?
No, that's an interesting question. He never wanted me to be a lawyer or a doctor. He wanted me to be in business. He said, oh, if you're a lawyer or a doctor, you can only work so many hours in a day, and that's your limit. But if you're in business, not only is the sky the limit, but if you run your business right, even if you're sick, you're still earning money. If you're a doctor and you get sick, you can't practice. If you're a lawyer and you're sick, you can't put in your hours. And that was his philosophy. But then what happened was I started winning awards for my work. I won a national award for my diet program. I won state awards. I've been very blessed. People recognize my work. I was featured on CNN News, Dateline, NBC because we won the national award. My program is in the Encyclopedia Britannica. How do you like that? Yeah.
Absolutely nice.
Yeah. So then when I started winning awards, and I'd come out in the paper for a lot of the things that I did. And I was doing it in a poverty-stricken community where people were underserved. They didn't have enough services, and I was doing it where they needed it most. Then my dad finally came around, but my dad was not happy in the beginning. Yeah.
Is he happy now?
Well, when he passed away, yeah, he had seen a lot of my work, and he said, I guess you were doing the right thing. Begrudgingly, he said he was proud of me, but that was a tough one though.
Aww.
Yeah.
Did your family join you in your health journey? Like if children, if you have them, wife, if you have
my daughter is a militant vegan. She's more hardline than I am. She scolds me for wearing leather shoes. How do you like that?
That's funny.
So that comes from a dead cow. I went, wow. She scolds her older sister for wearing having a leather purse. She refuses to, as much as possible. She doesn't want to ever ride in a car with leather seats. So all of our cars don't have leather seats. Yeah. I mean, that's how militant she is. And so she has a degree in environmental science, and she works for the local Department of Energy promoting renewable energy. So she's doing what she wanted to do.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, the patients, and by the way, just before I forget, I'd love for you to come back sometime and give that PowerPoint on weight loss, but you've had so many patients lose weight, reverse their diabetes, hypertension, heart disease. What role did exercise, if any, play in their journey?
Okay. Interestingly, when I did my original study, I insisted on no exercise to show that it was the diet that made the difference. And people, they say, oh, maybe it was exercise. It's just, in my study, I said, no additional exercise, just do what you were doing before. And we still got the great results. We still got people off the insulin. We still got people to lose weight, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So my paper it was without exercise. But however, I believe that exercise is very important, so yes, exercise plays a big role. But I just wanted to, the reason I didn't do it is I didn't want people to say, well, you guys lost weight because you were exercising, and I did not want anyone to make the mistake that it was the diet that was making the difference.
There's somebody watching live. I believe her name's Laura. She keeps saying, well, can I have an underactive thyroid? Is it okay if I eat things like tomatoes and potatoes?
Well, if you
Sarah,
have an underactive thyroid, you've got to look at, there are some foods that will slow down your thyroid, including soy, for example. If you eat too much soy, even if you eat a lot of broccoli and soy, these are foods that are known to, if you eat great quantities of them, can interfere with thyroid production. So you do have to be careful with that. So.
thank you. Well, somebody sent in a question also about thyroid from Marsha. She said, Dr. Shintani, I do not have a thyroid. It was taken out 34 years ago. I'm on replacement thyroid therapy, 180 mgs of Armour thyroid. I'm 71. I have no other health issues. I know that Armour is made from pig thyroid. However, when I tried the synthetics, they would not regulate me. Is it possible to reverse my low energy, dry skin, tiredness, and hair shedding? And why would the animal product be better than the synthetic?
It's because Armour thyroid, which is desiccated porcine thyroid, when you break it down, they do it by grains, but one grain is like 60 grams or something like that. But one grain of desiccated thyroid has 38 milligrams of T4 and 9 milligrams of T3, okay? T4 is actually the reservoir and gradually turns into T3, which is the active form. Now, the standard treatment in medicine that we're taught is you just give T4 and let the body convert to T3. But when we get older, we don't convert that effectively. So that's one of the reasons why Armour thyroid works better, because your body doesn't have to convert at least some of the T3 because it already has T3 in it. So what I do is I would put in the equivalent of T4 combined with T3, and the T3, one is called levothyroxine, the other is called liothyronine. I don't know why they make those names so similar that they get confused, but that's why I say T4, T3. I would prescribe the T3 in an amount that's 1/4 of the amount of the T4, so that it's physiologically similar to the Armour thyroid. So my recommendation would be, if you're on 80 milligrams of Armour, that's kind of an odd amount. It would typically it's 90. Anyway, they usually go by 30 because one grain is 60. Anyway, I would give the equivalent amount that is, for example, if she was on 50 of T4, I would give her 10 of T3. So it's 5-to-1. It's pretty close. And I think most doctors won't do that. And a lot of doctors don't understand why Armour gets better results. And that's because of the T3 in it. So for whoever asked that question, see if your doctor will prescribe for you T4 with T3 in the ratio of 4-to-1, because that's what's physiologic.
That's interesting.
That is, if you want, I presume you want to avoid eating animal products, right? That I do it a lot because I have a lot of vegans in my practice and they don't want the animal product.
Right. Well, I would imagine that some people are ethical vegans and wouldn't want to take an animal.
Yeah, right.
But she's saying, is it possible to reverse my low energy, dry skin, tiredness, and hair shedding? If she's on this medicine for 34 years, why is she still having those issues?
Oh, you mean the thyroid isn't? Oh, because
That's what she's asking.
is she? You mean in addition to the thyroid?
It sounds to me, and this was sent in, I don't know if she's watching live. It sounds to me that she says she has no other health issues, and when she says reverse low energy, dry skin, tiredness, and hair shedding,
I thought her question was how to do it without the
well, no, that was my question,
animal
actually,
product.
because people have asked me that before, that they would prefer to take a synthetic.
Right.
She's saying that they weren't able to regulate it with the synthetic.
Yeah, and I'm saying if she does it in that ratio, she'll have a better shot at regulating it. However, if she means what to do besides that, I'd say get bioidentical hormone replacement. After menopause, a lot of the problems women have is because their hormones are gone. They're not gone, but have reached a very low level. And I think that a lot of health issues, including memory loss, by the way, are because of female hormone deficiency. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Let me see if there's any more questions. What's a typical breakfast for you? Do you eat?
I actually, let me just say, I used to eat oatmeal with raisins and cinnamon. That was my favorite. Oatmeal, raisins, cinnamon. And if I had fruit, I'd put fruit in there. But now I've gone into intermittent fasting, and I eat late at night because I go to sleep late. This sounds crazy, but I typically eat dinner after 10 p.m.
That's too late.
No. But I don't go to bed until after 2:30.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And you had to be up today at 5 o'clock.
I know that's terrible. Because typically I wake up at 10 in the morning. So I skip breakfast. Yeah. So there's 4 hours between my dinner. So I'll eat dinner around 10 something. I won't go to sleep until 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's like almost 5 hours have passed. But I skip breakfast, and my first meal will be lunch, and I actually eat a late lunch. So I go about 14 or 15 hours without eating, and that's actually helped me keep. My weight started coming up a little bit as I got older, but doing the intermittent fasting for me has kept my weight in check. So
nice. So what is a typical lunch for you? I imagine you bring it to work. You're probably
a lunch. Oh, that's so interesting that you ask, because fortunately for me, there's a fast food place. I'm actually looking through my phone because I have a picture of it somewhere. There's a fast food place that allows me to,
So you have a healthy fast food place in Honolulu?
Yeah, it's really interesting.
What's it called, in case we're ever
It's
visiting?
called oh golly, it's called why don't I have it here? It's called Fort Street Cafe. It's a Vietnamese, it's Vietnamese Thai fare, but their standard side dish is brown rice and steamed vegetables. So I just say, can I just have this brown rice and steamed vegetables? And they said, sure. And it's only $4, and it's a plate full of it. And so that's, I put soy sauce and chili sauce on it. And then sometimes I'll vary what else I eat. Like I'll get a summer roll because there's tofu in it. And I'll eat the summer roll with my brown rice and veggies. And that's what I eat for lunch. Sometimes I'll eat an avocado sandwich. The only problem with that is they don't have whole wheat bread. It's white bread. So, but it's still better than the alternative. But that's kind of that's what I eat.
So there's no oil in the food from this restaurant then, or at least not what you're ordering.
No, actually, it's just plain. I mean, people think so plain, but I like the flavor of soy sauce, and I like the flavor of chili sauce, and that's what I eat, and I enjoy it. And
$4 sounds like a deal.
yeah, and it's only $4, and so I can have things on the side dishes and stuff.
Well, that sounds good. And does somebody else make your dinner at 10:30 at night?
Yeah, my wife. I have a wonderful wife. She used to cook for my program, so she knows exactly what I want. Last night she made vegan lasagna.
Nice.
But we did have vegan cheese on it, so we cheated a little bit. But everything else was without oil. But it was very delicious.
That's great. Do you have I'm curious, do you have any pets?
I love dogs. I have cute little doggies. Yeah.
I just felt like you had a dog. I don't know.
Yeah, we used to have 3 cute little dogs, and 2 of them died. And at 12 years old, both of them made it to 12. And here we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You see that on the bottom is brown rice, and on top is mixed vegetables. And I pay $4 for that, and that's the main part of my lunch. And then I'll have some little side. They have these at this Korean store. They have what they call vegetable pancakes, and they have summer rolls there. And let me just think what else. And actually around the corner, I can get a vegan burrito. So those are the things that I eat for lunch.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
Hey,
and it's all eating out, I mean, for years, people have a hard time believing me, but remember when I said there was a macrobiotic guy who cooked brown rice and veggies? I actually used to eat like that for years. I mean, through law school, through most of medical school. Maybe it's an advantage. I'm just a very simple, regular guy. I don't need fancy food. I'm very happy with the simplest of food. That I think that's helped me stay healthy, because I don't really crave, fanciness.
that's good. Well, that makes it easier.
Yeah, definitely easier. Yeah.
Here's an interesting question, if you don't mind answering it from a
Yeah,
live.
go ahead. Yep.
If it's not too personal. And LK says, I would like to know more about your spiritual practices. You seem like you meditate and you're very calm.
That's very nice. My spiritual practice is some ways very deep. If we've got a few more minutes, I know we're at the top of the hour, but
we can go over. I mean, because there's more questions. Like, people are worried about that your sleep might be dysregulated, because we've been told that for circadian rhythms, we should go to bed when the sun goes down and wake up when the sun comes up.
Well, my spiritual practice is actually a long story. It started when I was 6 months old. My dad got cancer.
Oh.
And in those days, I was 1951. All they could do was cut him open, take out what they could, and leave him with a permanent colostomy. And by the time I was 3, he had to have another surgery. And I asked my mom. By then, I knew what cancer was and that it spread and would probably kill him. And I said, Mom, so they're going to cure him this time, right? And Mom, I could see the fear in my mom's eyes. She said, no, they can't do anything. We just have to pray that it doesn't come back. And I took her at her word. I prayed every single night, dear Lord, don't let Dad but die of cancer. And he didn't die of cancer. And because of that, I believe in the power of prayer to heal, the
There's
healing
books
power.
about it. There's books by Larry Dossey. It's been
Yeah.
documented.
And so I firsthand believe in the healing power of prayer, because my dad, I prayed to the Lord, don't let Dad die of cancer, and he never did. So that's where I developed my spiritual side. And then what happened was, when I was a freshman in college, I had an out-of-body experience. I literally left my body, and it shook me up, because it was like, what was that? I heard about this phenomenon, but I didn't think I'd actually experience it. And it had a profound effect on me, because I started thinking, wait a minute, there's a spiritual world out there that we don't recognize. And I said, maybe my prayers were really real, like I was hoping. And I would talk, and I started talking to spiritual people. I talked to my pastor, and I talked to our chaplain from school who knew me, and they didn't have really good answers until I talked to the chairman of the religion department at the University of Hawaii, where I was studying. I took his class because it was Religion 101, and get this title now. It was called The Meaning of Existence. And I went, wow, I want to take that class. And after class, I asked him, I had this on, and his eyes lit up, and he said, oh, you've seen it too. See, what happened to this religion professor was he was a pastor at a little Christian church, and he was driving a parishioner home and got in a terrible accident, and he and his passenger died. They both died, but he came back. And he said he could see the whole thing. He saw the EMTs there trying to revive both of them, and they succeeded in reviving him, but not his passenger. And it shook him up so much that he changed the way he saw life and spirituality. And so it was a confirmation that this is kind of a real thing. And then later on, when I met Michio Kushi, who was the founder of American Macrobiotics, and he had the same reaction. He says, oh, you've seen the other side too. And he said, and I asked for an explanation, and his explanation was, when you eat vegan, you're like, think about all the monks and the holy people, they're all vegan. And that's because plants, the energy of the plants is closer to the earth, and it allows you to resonate with the vibration of the earth and the universe. And it allows you to see things that you can't see otherwise. And so I started eating very strictly macrobiotic, which is vegan, by the way. And it happened. I started having visions of the future. And that's when, in the middle of law school, I started having visions of me being a medical doctor. And it was like confusing to me, because here I'm in law school and I had no science classes in college. And it seemed like the Lord was talking to me in my ear saying, hey, you're supposed to be a doctor. So I kept praying, and I said, okay, dear Lord, if I start getting A's in pre-med, I think you're telling me I should go be a doctor. And I got straight A's in my pre-med. So that's how I became a doctor. It was spiritually guided. And so if the person asking about meditation, no, I don't meditate, but I pray a lot. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And by the way, I know how to meditate. I've done it. I actually took the course by Herbert Benson, who was the father of the relaxation response at Harvard. I took his class, and one of his famous teachers was Joan Boroshenko, who's a famous teacher of meditation. And no, I know how to meditate. I've done it before, but I pray more than I meditate. Let's put it that way.
Nice. Do you ever teach your patients to do that? Or
Only if they ask. The thing about spiritual side of things is people have to be really into it. Otherwise, I don't talk about it, because the things that have happened to me spiritually, almost, to someone who's not really into it, might sound a little off the edge, shall we say. So, but I don't talk about it very much. But
there's a doctor, I think he's in Cleveland. I don't know if I have his name right, Nemi, and he actually prays with his patients, and it's been documented. He's been on television. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No, I haven't. But that's one of the reasons. But that's one of the reasons why I really took to traditional Hawaiian healing, because all of that is spiritual. The Hawaiian healing concepts start in Hawaiian healing. They teach us that the healing starts with the spirit and with your relationship to God. And I'm thinking, wow, talk about going back to my my 3-year-old days, but that's the subject of a whole nother another hour-long discussion.
Nice. Jake said, do most Native Hawaiians have a particular blood type?
I don't know that. That's a great question.
It's
I don't know the answer
it's
to
the
that.
spam blood type.
I actually don't. Yeah, spam blood type. Oh, how horrible.
That's so
Don't
fun.
put that on Hawaiians. That was an American invention.
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting because you mentioned it was invented because of military. It was easier to ship, and it's
Right.
better.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Without refrigeration. The thing
Right. Did you know that that's how M&Ms were invented for military personnel?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. During World War II, they wanted the soldiers to be able to eat chocolate, but as you know, chocolate would melt.
Oh,
in your pocket.
wow! I did not know that.
M&Ms, and then the soldiers could keep the candy in their
Great.
pockets, and it would
Wow.
melt. So melt in your mouth, not in
Great
your
idea.
hand. Yeah, interesting.
That's
See,
great.
you learn something every day on Chef AJ.
Yeah.
People are worried about your sleep because they say they've learned you're supposed to go to bed when the sun is down and wake up when the sun is up, going to natural circadian rhythms.
Yeah, I think that's ideal. But I have to say, I've never done that. I've always been.
You're a night owl.
I think some people are night owls, and some people are larks, and some people are owls, and
I'm a lark. I like it. At 9 o'clock. I can barely keep my eye.
And the thing is, for me, is that it just became a natural thing. I learned it when I was in college. When you're not under the influence of your parents, you go to sleep whenever you feel like going to sleep. And I found that my creativity was at its peak at midnight. And people used to ask me, well, how is it that you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you had a radio show, you did this and that, and you still managed to write 16 books? And I said, I would write after midnight. And they go, what? I said, yeah, I'd stay up for 2 hours and write after midnight. And so now I'm doing all my TikToks after midnight.
That's cool that you're on TikTok. Well, what do you do late at night? I mean, that's when you do your writing, huh? Because
yeah, that's right. No, it's right. I do my writing because I don't know. I think my creative energies are there, and there's no distractions. That's always, and it was really interesting. I used to during the 90s, I wrote 1 book a year. I wrote 10 books in 10 years. And it was because I had a great ghostwriter. And she was like me. She was an owl. I would call her at 2 a.m. and her name was Janice. I said, Jan, I got this great idea for this chapter. And she'd be on the phone and she'd take notes. and then within a day, she'd have a chapter written for me, because, and we were so much in sync that way, because I'd get an idea. I remember getting an idea at 3 a.m, and I go, Jan, I got this idea. I don't want to lose my, because sometimes you don't write it down, you won't remember it. And she was up, and she was very much like me. So, so that's what helped me write so many books, is that I did it after midnight.
Do you work like a traditional doctor schedule, Monday through Friday, seeing
Not
patients?
anymore. No, I spent 18 years doing community health center work. I worked with the Native Hawaiian community. So I used to be a conventional family practice doctor. I used to see kids. I used to see, the only thing I didn't do was I didn't do the GYN stuff. To me, that was too scary. Well, you don't, you screw up a delivery, you've really messed people up,
Yeah.
I didn't want that kind of, remember I was a lawyer first, right? So I'm really gun shy, right?
So you're thinking about like, yeah. Well,
Malpractice. I don't want to.
as a lawyer and a doctor, you could just sue yourself for the malpractice. That's
Yeah. So anyway, no, I spent 18 years doing community medicine, serving the community that was underserved, in a standard, regular clinic format. And then I started my own practice, but my practice was very much like John McDougall's practice. I'd see patients, I'd get them well with dietary approach, and then I started doing programs like my 10-day program, so I left the Waianae Center where I did the community medicine back in 2005. And then I became a professor of medicine at the medical school. I started the Department of Complementary and Alternative Medicine at the medical school. I started the clinic, and that was very much like a regular medical practice. But now I have basically a wellness practice. What I'm hoping to do is, I think a lot of people are missing the nutrition and holistic approach, and I'm hoping to be able to provide that for a lot of people, online even, because people have asked me if I can be their doctor online, and I don't want to mess with getting a license in California and Utah and Texas and Illinois. So I'm putting together an online wellness program. I call it Club 120 Plus, and that's because the Bible says we have 120 years. But who wants to live that long if they're not healthy? So my goal is to create a community of people and help them be healthy for up to 120 years. And then after that, you're on your own.
120 years. Do you exercise?
Yeah, actually, I still play basketball. Yeah.
You do? Well, then you should come here where Dr. Lyle and Dr. Goldhammer live, and you should play with them.
That would be great.
Do you ever go anywhere? Because I never see you anywhere.
Well, the pandemic has stopped. I haven't been traveling much, but once a year I was going to the World Congress of Anti-Aging Medicine. So that's in Las Vegas. So, but I travel. Last year I traveled 3 times. This year I've already, where did I go I think I was in San Diego earlier this year at a conference. And I'm probably going to I might go to one more in Chicago. And then I'm chair of the International Holistic Therapy Association. So because of that position, I go to the World Congress of Anti-Aging Medicine every year. I've been doing that for the last 10 years, I think. Yeah.
Wait, what have you been doing for 10 years?
because I'm chair of the International Holistic Therapy Association, I
Oh.
go to the World Congress of Anti-Aging Medicine every year. Probably, I think for the last 10 years, I've been doing it. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to be interviewing a doctor later this month. I don't know if you heard of her. She's 102, and supposedly she founded like Holistic Medicine Society.
Great.
Thing. Her
That's
name is
great.
Dr. Gladys McGeary.
Well,
So
well,
she's
you
just-
got to keep me in touch with that. I'd like to see that.
yeah. So here's a question. Marlary says, well, what's the number one thing you can recommend for us to get to 120 and be healthy?
Well, there isn't one thing. I actually have a TikTok where I point out 8 things that you can do. Yeah, if you go to my TikTok, you'll see that I have a post that says 8. I said 8 things you can do for longevity, and I said and I list and it's the TikToks are 1 minute. I mean, I could do longer ones, but I like to do 1 minute TikToks because it forces me to be concise. But basically, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, I think people should go see my stuff on TikTok. But it's diet, it's exercise, it's mental attitude. Having a positive attitude. Wait, hang on a second, someone. Okay. Yeah, thank you. No, my office just opened, and so I got a message from my front office.
Oh, wait, so you have an office even though you're not going in and seeing patients regularly?
This is my wellness program. So I have patients today starting at noon. So Saturdays I actually start at noon.
Wow.
Yeah. So after this, I mean, it's only 9:20 now. I realize now we've gone over the 1 hour, but
About it. Dr. McDougall sometimes goes for 3 hours.
oh wow. Wow.
On every month. We don't mind at all. We love learning about you.
Yeah, but
how many people do you know that are 120 and actually alive and healthy? The oldest person I've had on the show is 101 and a female, and she's doing well. And then I had Dr. John Scharfenberg on at 100, but it doesn't seem like I know that many people that are.
Yeah, I know, but the Bible says we have 120 years, but the truth is we all abuse our body. I'm actually looking at my phone because I have a picture of a friend of mine that I want to show you. But the Holy Book says we have 120 years. And let's see, can you see, let's see, can you see this fellow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this guy, I've known him for years. And he says, "Hey, Terry, I haven't seen you in ages. Let me buy you lunch." And I look at us, "Stuart, you look great." Because I knew him 40 years ago, like in the 70s. And I said, "You look great. What are you doing in your retirement that keeps you so young looking?" He says, "Retirement's overrated. I got bored silly. I went back to selling real estate." He says, "You're selling real estate? You're still selling?" He said, "Oh, yeah. I get fun doing that. I get to meet people and, get out of the house." And he said, so I said, "So how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?" He said, No, I'm 102.
Wow.
He's selling real estate at 102. And I said, "So now you have to be the teacher. What is your secret?" And he says, "Well, I read your book. I eat more vegetables than I used to, but I'm not vegetarian. I'm not that disciplined. But I do eat a lot of vegetables, and I swim every day." And I went, "Oh, that's probably your secret sauce." He says he lived a block away from the beach, and every day after work, he'd jump in the ocean and swim. So that just goes to show the importance of exercise. But besides exercise, this is an answer to that question earlier. I don't know if I'm going to hit all of them, but you have to avoid poisoning yourself. No smoking. Limit your drinking. Don't put these phones up to your head and get yourself a glioblastoma. Um, and then you have the concept of ikigai, purpose in life. That's what keeps the Okinawans so healthy.
That's interesting that you said that, because I just read the book of the 102-year-old doctor that's coming on, and that's one of her secrets.
Yeah, right. And then I think faith. Do you know there's a study that shows that people who go to church or have some kind of faith live 4 to 6 years longer than people who don't. So
that's interesting. Hey, do you know what you call an atheist in a coffin?
What?
Someone who's all dressed up with no place to go.
That's terrible.
Not that if you're an atheist, I'm just
that's a good one.
Thank you. Or wait, what do you call a dyslexic, agnostic, insomniac? What do you call a dyslexic, agnostic, insomniac?
Okay, what is that?
Someone who stays up all night wondering if there's a dog.
Well, I got one for you. This is my daughter's joke. My daughter's she always says, I think I have ADHD. No, or I would say, I said, my daughter's name is Nikki. I said, Nikki, I think you have ADHD. She says, no, I don't have ADHD. She says, I have ADHLAS. I go, ADHLAS? And I'm the doctor, right? I'm supposed to know these things. I said, what's ADHLAS? She goes, attention deficit. Hey, look, a squirrel.
That's adorable. That's funny. Hey, are there other plant-based doctors in Hawaii? And if so, do you know any of them?
I think there might be one, but no, I take it back. Apparently there's one plant-based cardiologist that I know of, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I know that some people have said that, yeah, this guy, and I think he is, or at least vegetarian. But doing the kind of practice I'm doing, I can't think of any.
Do you know Dr. Erminie Van Dyken? She's a general surgeon.
In Hawaii?
Mm-hmm, in Hawaii.
No, I don't know her. She's vegan also, or vegetarian?
Oh yeah, she's certified also in lifestyle medicine. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, it's because I don't. maybe it's because I don't send people to surgery very often.
Yeah. Well, I think she works at Kaiser, but is there a city?
Oh, that's why. I actually, most of it's a different system. That's probably why I don't know her.
Right, but you should meet her. She's really nice. Let me tell you her exact where she practiced. She's she's beautiful. She's spoken here in California before, and I've had her on the show and on summits. And let's see. Actually, she came when I spoke at the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii. I didn't even get to meet you. Can you believe it? Okay, she's in Wailuku. Is that near you?
That's Maui. That's the other island. That's why.
Oh, well, that's why you don't know her. Well,
yeah, that's why. I was thinking, what am I missing?
That's why. Okay,
Wailuku is the neighbor island. Yeah.
Sorry, I love Hawaii. I think it's the most beautiful place in maybe the world, but for sure in the United States. Were you born?
Yeah, I'm born and raised here. Yeah, I'm just a regular local kid.
When is the last time you've seen any of the plant-based doctors like Dr. McDougall?
Say it again.
When's the last time you've seen anybody from the old gang like Dr. McDougall?
The last time I saw him was on your show.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a long, but when's the last time you've seen him in person?
Oh, I haven't seen him. It's been a long while. I used to call him up a fair amount, but he's gotten hard to reach, partly because, the fire, right? It burned his house down, right?
Yeah, but he's doing good now. He's up in Portland near his
I know,
grandchildren.
but I had his I used to have his phone number. I'd call him, pick him up, call him. I think the number's changed now. So.
I'll give you a cell number.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That'd be great.
Yeah, he's great. I'm in touch with him. He comes on the show once a month, and I know he.
Oh, that's nice. Well, listen, it's getting close to the bottom of the hour.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
That's
Just
the
so
time that
fun
I-
talking to you. Come back and do the presentation if you don't mind. We would love
Oh
to.
yeah, yeah. If you don't mind, I'd be happy. I'd be
Just
happy to do
you
that.
tell me. You're harder to book than
Yeah,
I.
yeah. Let me work it out. But you're on Saturday morning. Is this your regular time?
No, I'm every day. I haven't missed a show since March
Wow.
20th, 2020. I'm a 7-day-a-week job here.
And you're putting this all on YouTube?
Yeah, it stays on YouTube forever and ever.
Wow, fantastic.
Hey, one
I
quick
I hope they're paying you for your.
Well, I mean, the revenue from the ads, if people don't have the ad spot, but I do it because I love it and I get to meet really cool.
Oh yeah, you're so good at this.
It's just like talking to my friends. So
I know, but you're a great ambassador.
Thank you. Well,
eating
46 years. So
yeah, yep.
Hey, Dr. Shintani, just one last question. Where does alcohol fit into a healthy diet in just in general, in the Hawaiian culture, and also in calorie density world?
Yeah, alcohol, they're finding out that if you haven't started drinking, you shouldn't start. They used to think that, oh, well, it's relaxing, 1 or 2 drinks a day, until I still remember when this is back in 1987. I remember the year too. This was my first year at Harvard. Well, no, wait a minute. That was 1986. I was looking at the connection between diet and breast cancer. And in walks Walter Willett, like the chair, and he puts the paper on everybody's table, and it was alcohol and breast cancer. And in his research, there was a clear-cut relationship, dose-response relationship between alcohol and breast cancer. And when I read through it, it was absolutely stunning, because we thought it was dietary fat, but alcohol had much bigger effect on breast cancer. And it started at 4 drinks a week. So I would never recommend to a woman to drink 1 drink a day of anything, because the alcohol, and they think it's because alcohol stimulates estrogen production and creates an imbalance. Alcohol, if you haven't started, don't start. If you're going to drink alcohol, and I know that's a celebratory thing, I would say don't do more than 4 drinks a week. So
yeah, but in terms of calorie density, would you say it's figure friendly, or?
Oh no, absolutely not. Alcohol is 7 calories a gram.
It's almost like oil, isn't it?
Oil is 9 calories, alcohol 7 calories, and protein, carbs are 4 calories a gram. So you don't want to do want to do alcohol if you're trying to lose weight. Yeah.
You seem to just have a very kind spirit, and you just seem to be a very happy person. I'm so blessed, because it's almost maybe it was spirit guided, but it seemed like everything I tried, get this now. I applied to 1 college, I got in. I applied to 1 law school, I got in. I applied to 1 medical school, I got in, and all of my first try, right? I applied to Harvard to get my nutrition degree, I got it. It was like all the doors were just swung open for me. And in my let's see, in my 5th year of practice, when I did my project with the Native Hawaiians, with the very large Native, I won a national award. I came out in Newsweek, CNN, Dateline, NBC. My project's in the Encyclopedia Britannica. And I've only been a doctor for 5 years at the time. I mean, how blessed can I be? I have no complaints. The Lord's been so good to me. So that may be why I'm so happy. I mean, I
I really do enjoy what I do. But
Yeah, well, it shows.
Yeah.
And if you have information for how people can join your online program, if you please give it to me, I can put
yeah,
it.
yeah.
video.
So one thing is, let me share my screen one more time.
Sure.
There's my infamous Apple. Oh, wait a minute. No.
That'd be a good screensaver, you know,
Yeah, yeah, I know, really.
or a t-shirt or a mug.
Yeah, look at all my look at all the slides I have. So if I actually have this giveaway. I have a short ebook, Health Secrets. I have an ebook about lose weight while you sleep. I have a cancer lecture. I actually charge for this lecture $9. You know, I don't, but it's because I have materials that come with it. But if they go to peacediet.org, they can access my stuff, and these two are free. And if they want to contact me, I'm a little hesitant to give out my email address, but
Well, even when a person knows your email, you're terrible about getting back to them.
I know, yeah, you see that.
So I wouldn't even recommend it. It's taking.
No, that's part of the reason why I get so.
No, I know it's true. So people shouldn't be upset even if they have your email.
Yeah, but
it's not your strong suit. That's
if they
okay.
want my email, I would use drshintani@yahoo.com.
Yeah, that's okay. Somebody's asking about the shingles vaccine. Do you recommend it, or do we count on our?
You know, I think it really depends. I actually prefer to just, if you get shingles, I prefer to take Valtrex. They have a really good antiviral. Personally, I don't do well with vaccines. When I took the second booster for COVID, I got 102 fever.
Wow.
I'm not doing this again, you know. But now they have Paxlovid for COVID. So anybody who catches COVID, you take Paxlovid right away. Take it within the first 5 days. And same thing with shingles. You get shingles, take Valtrex right away. Take the antiviral right away. And my experience is it deals with it very nicely. But it's a personal choice, you know, if you're at high risk for it. If you do well with vaccines, then that's your choice.
Yeah, I've never done well with any of it. Well, Dr. Shintani, you are just delightful.
All right. Well, thank you, and you're a great host, and I appreciate the time. And yeah, let's circle back, and maybe I'll do one of my
I would love to have
presentations.
I'd love to hear a presentation. So thank you,
great.
and aloha, and thanks all of you for watching
Thank you.
another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time for Celine Brozovic. She's going to talk to you about whether or not you are tired and how you can have more energy if you follow this diet and